Hello, my name is Carlin Edwards, and today I'll be presenting to you my presentation on religion and science. So first I wanted to start with just an overview of Barber's typologies as a whole, which there are four of. So there's conflict, independence, dialogue, and integration. Now this presentation is going to focus primarily on dialogue, which promotes meaningful discussions between religion and science. So why did I choose dialogue? I chose dialogue because it feels like the typology I most understand and resonate with, and I just feel like some of my favorite conversations I've had are those that have good discussion about something while still being able to see the other person's side and kind of meshing our viewpoints together, and I really appreciate that. So, description. So what is dialogue? The dialogue typology suggests that science and religion address both kinds of questions, but can still benefit from engaging with each other respectfully, which is great. And then core idea, science and religion have different methods. So science really relies more on evidence, while religion draws on faith and theology. However, both can discuss shared topics like the origin of life, ethical issues, and human purpose without conflict. So some two key points. Some big questions like how the universe began or the purpose of human life are relevant in both science and religion. Dialogue kind of encourages us to explore these questions together, with each side adding its own insights. So philosophical insights. With this approach, science and religion can inspire each other without undermining each other's core beliefs. For instance, scientific discoveries might deepen religious understanding, and religious ideas can lead to new perspectives in science. Overall, dialogue is really about creating a respectful conversation where science and religion can enrich one another's understanding of the world. Next, let's look up some key strengths of the dialogue typology. So number one, it encourages respect. Dialogue creates a respectful atmosphere where science and religion can engage without hostility or isolation. So instead of competing, they can recognize each other's value. Next, it promotes open inquiry. So this approach supports open exploration. Both science and religion can examine big questions about existence, morality, and the universe without stepping on each other's toes or trying to take over each other's areas. And finally, flexibility. So dialogue is adaptable. So it works well for people who hold religious beliefs, but also appreciate scientific advancements, making it inclusive for a wide range of perspectives. So some additional strengths. So intellectual enrichment. I really like this one. So religion can offer valuable ethical perspectives, especially on complex scientific issues like bioethics. But meanwhile, science gives insights into topics like creation and the natural world, which can deepen theological understanding. So both fields can help each other grow intellectually. And then compatibility with modern views. So the dialogue approach appeals to people who believe that science and religion can be harmonious. So it allows for a relationship between the two that doesn't see them as opposites, but as fields that can, work together. All right. Now let's look at some weaknesses. So ambiguity and boundaries. This is definitely a big one. So the one challenge is that it can be hard to set clear boundaries between science and religion. When their topics overlap, this can sometimes lead to confusion or tension and about one another's fields and how where one field begins and one ends, and it seems to be the biggest problem, but limited practicality. So for some people with more fundamentalist beliefs, the dialogue approach might seem too lenient or compromising. They may feel it doesn't respect the authority of religious teachings. And then risk of overreach. So finally, dialogue can sometimes blur the lines between scientific explanations and religious beliefs. So this can lead to misinterpretations when scientific ideas are seen as religious truths or vice versa. Okay, so some biblical examples. So Genesis 1, which is mainly, creation narrative describing sequential, orderly creation of the universe in 6 days. So really just like the overall topic of the 6 days. And then Genesis 2, more detailed creation of humanity, focusing on personal interactions with, between God and humans, him and Adam. So dialogue's interpretation. So the dialogue approach views these stories not as scientific explanations, but as theological narratives. So this enriches our understanding of human purpose and God's relationship with creation, rather than providing a literal account of how the universe was made. And then scientific integration. So instead of conflicting with science, these passages can lead to theological reflections on human responsibility and environmental care. So they invite us to consider topics like stewardship, where religion can provide moral insights in harmony with scientific understanding. Next. So how dialogue typology illuminates Genesis. So complementary perspectives. So the creation accounts in Genesis offer spiritual insights about God's role in creation and human purpose. At the same time, they leave room for scientific theories like evolution, which can explain the how while without conflicting with the why provided by faith. And then my boundary question. So the origin of humanity is a big question for both religion and science. And so in Genesis is a story about human purpose and relationship with God. Science, on the other hand, explores biological origins. So the dialogue approach allows these perspectives to coexist, each adding to our understanding of what it means to be human. And my exemplar individual, Francis Collins. I think we all saw this one coming. So Francis Collins is a great example of someone who supports the dialogue typology. He's a geneticist, the former director of the NIH, and he led the Human Genome Project. So what makes him unique in his deep Christian faith, which he believes complements his scientific work? So why dialogue? So Collins is a strong advocate for dialogue because he sees scientific discovery as a way to understand God's creation. For him, science and faith aren't in conflict. They're two ways of exploring truth. So some key contributions. So in his book, The Language of God, Collins explains how science and faith can coexist. He views scientific laws as expressions of divine order, showing how the natural world is beautifully structured. Through his work, Collins shows how the dialogue approach allows faith and science to enrich each other. So Francis Collins provides a powerful example of how the dialogue typology works in practice. So promotes mutual enrichment. So Collins believes that scientific discoveries actually deepen his faith. For example, as he learned more about the complexity of DNA, it strengthened his awe for his creator. At the time, his faith gives purpose to his scientific work, helping him see his research as part of a bigger divine plan. So, exemplar of dialogue typology. So Collins is a perfect example of someone who maintains a scientific career while embracing a personal faith. So he views science as a window into understanding God's creation. For him, science and faith are not opposing forces, but complementary ways of exploring the world. So relating dialogue to evangelicalism. So, evangelical perspective. So evangelicals focus on having a personal relationship with God and place a high value on the Bible as a source of truth. So compatible with dialogue. So many evangelicals like Francis Collins support scientific inquiry. They find that the dialogue approach respects the authority of the Bible while also accepting scientific discoveries. So this allows them to explore science without compromising their faith. So relevance to contemporary issues. So for evangelicals working in areas like medicine or environmental science, dialogue offers a flexible way to address ethical questions. It helps them consider the moral implications of science while staying true to their faith. And then my conclusion. So dialogue encourages science and religion to work together by addressing shared questions about ethics, existence, and the universe. Instead of it being in conflict, they can enrich each other throughout respectful discussions. And so my final thought. So the dialogue approach is flexible and helps us approach complex issues with openness and respect. It shows that science and religion can coexist and support each other, which I 100% agree with. And I'm really glad that I chose this typology, because I really do feel like it is the one that I understand the most and have the most connection with, and the one that I feel is most important. So that was my project. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.